Purple spinach looks ordinary until you flip a leaf and see the underside glow. In this video, I share how purple spinach became an easy, reliable perennial green in our Los Angeles garden, how it grows, how we harvest it, and how we cook it, while reflecting on its Asian roots and the nutrition behind its color. Welcome to With the Garden. Here in Los Angeles, in a cozy yard, I'm learning and sharing as I go. I hope you'll grow along with me. Let's begin. This plant pretends to be ordinary until you turn a leaf over. On top, it looks like any other green in the bed. Underneath, it glows deep purple, as if it has been painting with ink. In our house, we call it purple spinach, but its name is complicated. Gynura Bicolor in the language of gardeners and botanists, Okinawa Spinach, or edible Gynura in English, Feng, the red phoenix vegetable in Chinese, each name whispering a different story of leaf and land. Our story with this plant starts with a neighbor, not a nursery. One afternoon, he walked over with a few clumps in a pot and said it was tasty and hard to kill. We tucked the cuttings into a half-shaded corner, watered them a few times, and then went back to everyday life. Months later, we realized that the clump had turned into a soft mat of foliage, each lance-shaped leaf, green on top and purple underneath, quietly taking over its corner of the yard. Once we started cooking with it, the plant earned its place quickly. The young tips go into the wok with garlic and a bit of oil, often mixed with milder greens, so the flavor stays balanced. The taste sits somewhere between spinach and chrysanthemum greens, with a gentle herbal note, enough character to be interesting without shouting. In soups and stir-fries, you get hints of purple in a sea of green. On busy evenings, a handful of tender shoots, a couple of eggs, and some leftover rice already feel like a proper meal. Growing it has taught us who this plant really is. Gynura Bicolor belongs to the chrysanthemum family, cousin to sunflowers and daisies. It comes from warm, humid parts of East and Southeast Asia, including southern China, Thailand, and Myanmar, where people have long grown it as both vegetable and medicinal herb. Over time, it traveled to Taiwan and Japan, then on again to gardens like ours in Los Angeles County, carried by gardeners, cuttings, and word of mouth. In the ground here, it behaves like a crawling, leafy carpet, stems lean and root where they touch moist soil. The leaves are narrow and slightly serrated, deep green above and wine purple below, especially when the weather is cool. In late winter and spring, when our days are mild, new shoots surge from older stems, and the whole patch thickens. Spring and early fall are when it looks happiest, full and begging to be harvested. In the hottest weeks of summer, the plant slows down. It hunkers close to the soil, the leaves get smaller, and growth tries to wait out the heat. Partial shade under a taller tree or along the east side of a bed keeps it from burning and helps the leaves stay tender. In the coolest part of winter, it does not vanish the way tomatoes do. It simply moves into a slow, careful mode, holding its leaves and making short new stems until temperatures rise. In containers, it behaves the same way, just on a smaller stage. Every now and then, if we forget to harvest a patch, the stems stretch and send up flower stalks. The blossoms are small yellow to orange clusters that look like wild chrysanthemums. After flowering, the plant makes tiny dry fruits, each with a little tuft of hairs at the tip. When they dry, a breeze can carry them off like tiny dandelion clocks. In practice, we mostly use cuttings, because they root in a week or two and give us exactly the plant we already like. But those drifting seeds are a reminder that it has its own travel plans. Care is simple, which is part of the charm. We give it reasonably rich, well-drained soil with plenty of compost and a layer of mulch to keep the roots cool. Regular watering during active growth keeps the leaves plump, but it also shows real drought tolerance and often perks back up after a dry spell once water returns. The main thing it asks is not to sit in waterlogged soil and not to bake all afternoon in the harshest sun. Morning sun and afternoon shade, or bright dappled light, seem to suit it best in our climate. Because it spreads so generously, our main job is maintaining. In containers, the roots eventually pack the pot and new growth becomes thinner. When that happens, we tip the plant out, divide it, refresh the soil, and replant a few good pieces. In the ground, we sometimes cut whole sections back hard, then watch as fresh shoots push up from the old stems. Harvesting by pinching off tips rather than stripping whole stems keeps it branching and bushy, so the more often we eat it, the more lush it stays. So far, purple spinach has stayed relatively pest-resistant in our yard. Snails and slugs enjoy the succulent leaves in cool weather, so we pick them off by hand. Aphids occasionally cluster on soft tips, especially in shady, lush spots, but a firm spray of water or an invitation to ladybugs usually solves the problem. If a crowded corner stays damp, older leaves can get spots or mild mildew. Thinning stems for airflow and avoiding overhead watering in the evening are usually enough to keep it healthy. Behind its ground cover habit, this plant hides a dense nutritional story. The leaves are rich in vitamin C, minerals, and antioxidants. The purple color comes from anthocyanins, the same family of pigments that colors berries and red cabbage. In Chinese, the name Hongfen Cai, the red phoenix vegetable, hints at brightness and renewal, and in many parts of mainland China and Taiwan, it is treated as both food and tonic, sometimes called a blood-nourishing vegetable in everyday speech. Modern studies describe it as a promising functional food, with antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties, but like many strong herbs from the chrysanthemum family, it also contains compounds that are best enjoyed in moderation. Our rule is simple. We eat it cooked, we mix it with other vegetables, and we enjoy it as one green among many, not as the only thing on the plate. For us, beyond the science, purple spinach has become a symbol of what a small, generous plant can do. It came to us as a neighbor's gift, settled into a half-forgotten corner, and now serves as both ground cover and pantry, linking our Los Angeles backyard to markets and home kitchens across Asia. It reminds us that not every useful crop is a tree or a dramatic vine. Some live low to the ground, underfoot, just waiting for someone to flip a leaf over and really see it. If you garden in a warm or mild climate, have you tried growing purple spinach or other perennial leafy greens like this? And if you already grow Hongfen Cai or purple spinach, what is your favorite way to cook it? In a simple stir-fry, a clear soup, or something completely different? Thank you for watching. If this was helpful or inspiring, please give it a like and tell me what you're growing in the comments. See you next time in the garden.